It started with one can, just one. The first sip sent a surge of vitality through me, a spark that burned brighter than anything I'd felt in months. That was when the obsession began. I convinced myself it was harmless, just fuel for late-night gaming. But soon, one can became two, then three. By the time I saw the poster for the Prime Energy Challenge, I was already averaging 6 a day. Whoever drinks the most cans in an hour wins, the poster declared. A year's supply of Prime Energy and $10,000 cash. It felt like destiny. I started training immediately. Every day I pushed my body further, guzzling can after can until my stomach felt like it would burst. My body adapted. At least that's what I thought. The sleepless nights, the jittery hands, small prices to pay for greatness. The day of the competition, the stage was electric. The air buzzed with caffeine-fueled excitement as the crowd roared, their energy feeding into my already over-amped nerves. My chest puffed out with confidence. Opponents lined up beside me, but I barely acknowledged them. The announcer's voice boomed.
Are you ready?
The countdown began. 3, 2, 1. I cracked open the first can, chugging it like it was water. The carbonation burned my throat, but I welcomed the sensation. The crowd cheered as I slammed it onto the table and reached for the next. One by one, the cans disappeared. My training had paid off. My hands moved on autopilot, my throat a tunnel for the sugary liquid. 10 cans in, and I felt invincible. But by the 15th can, something shifted. My stomach, bloated and taut, churned ominously. Each gulp sent a wave of pressure surging through my body, the carbonation fighting for space in my overloaded gut. Still, I pressed on. The crowd's chants grew louder, their enthusiasm drowning out the alarm bells ringing in my head. I could taste the finish line. Victory was within reach. Then came the 16th can. As the liquid hit my throat, my body rebelled. I gagged, the carbonation bubbling up faster than I could swallow. Panic set in as I tried to force it down, but my body had had enough. With a violent heave, I spewed a torrent of fluorescent liquid across the stage. Gasps erupted from the audience. I collapsed to my knees, clutching my swollen stomach as the announcer declared the winner. 3rd place. After everything, I was only good enough for 3rd. That night, back in my apartment, the humiliation burned almost as much as my stomach. I hadn't eaten all day, yet I felt fuller than ever. My gut was a rock, stretched tight and unyielding. Sleep eluded me. Each time I closed my eyes, I could feel the energy coursing through me, keeping my heart racing and my mind spinning. By the 3rd night, the effects began to show. Sweat poured from my skin in an unrelenting stream, soaking through my clothes and sheets. My pores seemed larger. When I ran my hand over my arm, it came away slick and glistening, as if my body was leaking. Then came the blisters. Tiny water-filled bubbles erupted across my arms, chest and neck, itching and burning with every touch. I tried popping one, but instead of relief, more fluid oozed out, drenching my already saturated skin. I told myself it was temporary, a side effect. It would pass. On the 5th night, exhaustion finally won. I sank into a deep sleep, my body limp for the first time in days. When I woke, the sound of rushing water filled my ears. Groggy, I sat up and froze. My room was flooded. Water covered the floor, lapping against the legs of my bed. The air was humid, suffocatingly warm. I looked down at my body and screamed. Every pore on my skin had stretched into gaping holes, each one a tiny faucet spilling water. My arms, my chest, my legs. Every inch of me was leaking. I tried to stand, but my legs buckled. My muscles, once firm, had turned soft and pliable, like overcooked noodles. The water kept coming, pouring from me in an unending stream. It wasn't just water, it was Prime. I could smell it, the sickly, sweet scent that had once been so intoxicating, now making me gag. The room filled quickly. Water rose past my knees, then my waist. I clawed at the walls, desperate for escape, but my strength was gone. My body, my sanctuary, was betraying me. As the water reached my chest, I looked down at my reflection. What stared back was no longer human. My skin was translucent, my features distorted by the ripples. I was melting, dissolving into the flood I had created. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. This was the price of my obsession. You wouldn't understand what it's like to be invisible. Not literally, of course, but the kind of invisible where people look straight through you like you're nothing. Too skinny, they'd say. Too weak. My arms looked like twigs. My ribs were always on display, and no matter how much I tried, extra meals, protein powders, gym sessions, I stayed the same.
You need to eat a burger or 10.
They'd joke, laughing at my expense. Every comment was a needle pricking at my pride. I wanted to shut them up, to make them see me as something more. That's how I ended up scrolling through shady forums at 2 a.m, looking for answers. Anything to help me gain weight, to bulk up fast. One thread caught my attention. Pumping air for a perfect body. I pressed, skeptical but desperate. The post was from someone called Body Mod Maniac, claiming to have perfected a method to gain weight and volume without fat. The trick? Injecting a mix of air and silicone beneath the skin. No gym, no calories, just precision and results. The before and after photos were shocking. Skeletal arms turned muscular, hollow cheeks filled out to chiseled jawlines. It was too good to be true, but my desperation drowned out my doubt. I ordered the supplies the next morning. Syringes, medical-grade silicone, and sterilizers. When the package arrived, my hands shook with excitement and fear. I set everything up in my cramped bathroom, triple-checking the instructions. The first injection went into my thigh, just a tiny amount, barely a puff. My heart pounded as I watched the silicone bubble beneath my skin, spreading evenly. For a second, I panicked. What if it got infected? What if something went wrong? But by the next morning, the panic was gone, replaced by awe. My thigh looked fuller, stronger, like I'd been doing squats for months. I couldn't stop touching it, marveling at how perfect it felt. I wanted more. Watching myself transform was intoxicating. People started noticing. "You've been hitting the gym, huh?" they'd say. "Looking good, man." For the first time in my life, I felt seen. I felt powerful. But there was a catch. The air didn't stay. After a couple of days, the fullness would fade, and I'd have to inject more. It wasn't a problem, though. I had plenty of silicone left. I started a routine, daily injections to maintain my new physique. I was careful at first, but the compliments kept coming, and I craved that validation. So I increased the doses, pumping more into my arms, my chest, my legs. That's when things started to change. One morning I woke up feeling off. My chest felt tight and my skin itched like it was stretched too thin. I looked in the mirror and froze. My body was bloated. Not just full, but unnaturally round. My biceps were too large, my chest too inflated. I looked like a caricature of myself. Panic set in. I grabbed a syringe, trying to deflate the excess air, but nothing came out. The silicone had hardened, sealed inside me. I told myself it was fine. I just needed to be more careful, to manage the doses better. But deep down, I knew I'd gone too far. I couldn't stop. Each day I felt the air pushing against my skin, begging for release. But instead of stopping, I doubled down. I needed to maintain my perfect image, no matter the cost. Then, one night, it happened. I was injecting my stomach when I felt a sharp pain, like a balloon stretched to its limit. My skin bulged grotesquely, veins popping out in dark blue lines. I stumbled back, gasping for air, as my chest rose unnaturally high. My body felt light. I tried to steady myself, but my feet barely touched the floor. The lightness turned into weightlessness, and before I knew it, I was floating. I clawed at the walls, desperate to ground myself, but my body lifted higher, pulling me toward the ceiling. My skin stretched painfully, every inch of me puffed up like a grotesque balloon. I crashed through the window into the cold night air. The city lights blurred below me as I rose higher and higher, the wind whipping against my bloated skin. I screamed, but no one could hear me. My body swelled with each passing second, the pressure building inside me. My joints ached, my chest burned, and my vision blurred. And then...
Hey, my lovelies. Linda here, and today, we're diving into something revolutionary. Dermaglow Extreme Peel. Promises a whole new you, overnight. A fresh start. Literally. And who doesn't want to wake up looking brand new? The packaging was undeniably opulent and minimalist lettering that whispered of luxury. Ooh, fancy. Let's see what the hype is about. I unfolded the instructions, my eyes scanning the fine print. Become a new person in one night? Bold claim. But the reviews, they're glowing. A flicker of unease danced across my features. The brand was unsettlingly obscure, almost non-existent, yet the before and after photos were impossibly perfect. This was sent to me by a high-end skincare brand. They claim it's dermatologist approved, though there's not much info about them online. Still, the reviews are amazing, so let's give it a go. I squeezed a dollop of the pearlescent serum onto my fingertips. The texture was cool, almost icy, a stark contrast to the growing heat in the studio lights. Feels nice. A little tingle, but nothing crazy. I applied it all over my face, meticulously following the instructions. The initial coolness morphed into a subtle warmth, then a prickling heat that made my skin tighten. Okay, feeling that kick in. This is just it working its magic. A little facial workout. Very intense facial workout. A few minutes ticked by, each one an eternity. The heat intensified, morphing into a searing burn that made my skin feel like it was stretched to breaking point. I glanced at the mirror, my breath hitching. My face was a grotesque shade of crimson, tiny red bumps erupting like angry volcanoes. Whoa, that's intense. Definitely working. Wow, it's definitely potent. But beauty is pain, right? And trust me, the results are going to be so worth it. Imagine waking up with skin like porcelain, like a goddess. My eyes darted to the chat, where the comments were morphing from excited anticipation to frantic warnings. Guys, relax. It's all part of the process. You know how these extreme peels are. They're intense, but they're also incredibly effective. Just stick with me and you'll see. We're going to transform together. Think of this as a beauty ritual, a sacred transformation. I could feel something shifting beneath my skin, a subtle, unsettling movement. Isn't it amazing how quickly it works? Like, it's really getting deep, you know? It's like It's like it's changing me from the inside out. Ha, ha, ha. Don't you just love that feeling? That transformative feeling? 15 minutes, the recommended time, the point of no return. My face throbbed, a pulsing, agonizing ache. This is more than I expected. Maybe I should rinse it off now. I rushed to the bathroom, desperate to wash it off. But as I touched my skin, a large patch peeled away. Panic seized me, my hands shaking as I frantically splashed water on my face. But it only made it worse. My skin sloughed off in sheets like wet paper. My pores dilated, oozing a thick, viscous fluid. My reflection was a horror show, a grotesque parody of my former self. I stumbled back to the studio, my vision blurring with tears. I looked at the mirror, and my blood ran cold. Something was moving under my skin, squirming, writhing. It felt like insects, like worms, desperate to escape. Release me. A voice rasped from my throat, not mine. My fingers slick with the viscous ooze, trembled as I fiddled with the camera's focus. Just a little adjustment. We wouldn't want to miss any of the magic happening, would we? The shifting beneath my skin intensified, a frantic, desperate struggle. It's like a butterfly, you know, in its chrysalis, going through its metamorphosis. A beautiful, glorious transformation. The burning intensified, a searing, white-hot pain that made me want to scream. But the smile on my face remained fixed, an unnaturally wide, grotesque grin. Almost there, I crooned, my voice a distorted parody of my usual cheerful tone. Almost perfect. My eyes widened, not in fear, but in a strange, detached fascination. I watched as my reflection began to change, the smooth porcelain skin warping and twisting, forming grotesque alien shapes. Look at what it's doing. It's rebuilding me, making me better. The final layer of skin peeled away, revealing the grotesque alien face beneath. But even as I stared at the horrifying visage, it began to smooth out, to reshape itself. The warped features softened, the alien contours melted away, and a new face emerged. A face that was even more beautiful than my own. Perfect. Finally, perfect. Now, where were we?
No! I don't want to eat sahur!
Tun sahur. Share this with friends who don't eat sahur.
I remember the TikTok. It was meant to be a joke. It had millions of views. Millions. I wanted that for my channel. Anato 6. So I booked my flight to Indonesia. We picked a narrow alley in Yogyakarta. Quiet, grimy, lit only by the dim orange of half-working street lamps. I hired a local actor to wear a ridiculous costume I designed. Exaggerated limbs, painted mask, cartoonish bat. Locals warned us. One old man stared us down, muttered something in Bahasa that I barely caught.
Jangan main-main. Itu bukan untuk lelucon.
My fixer translated, eyes low.
He said, "Don't play with what you don't understand."
We laughed. Come on, it's just a meme. I even shouted down the alley, arms raised. If the real Tung Sahur is out there, come on, show yourself, give us a scare. We laid out a full spread. Nasi lemak, beef rendang, Sweet tea. Everything framed perfectly under our soft lights. The plan was simple. I'd pretend to sleep on a mat while our actor banged a drum 3 times off screen. Tongue, tongue, tongue. I don't respond. Then, on the 4th beat, he storms in, smacks me with the bat, shoves food in my mouth and dances to the audio.
Tung 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 sahur. A terrifying anomaly that only appears during sahur.
We hit record. The first takes were hilarious, until they weren't. On the final shot, just after our actor finished his bit and stepped off camera, tongue, a 4th drum beat. But no one was supposed to hit it yet. I sat up. Who did that? No answer. Our cameraman, Buddy, chuckled, unsure.
Wasn't me.
Then tongue, tongue, 2 more. But this sound wasn't part of our gear. It was deeper, wetter, like something rotting was vibrating inside the drumhead. Then, tongue, the 4th. The lights blew out, street lamps dimmed to a dying ember, and something stood behind the feast. It was not our actor. This thing was taller, broader. Its mask wasn't foam, it was real wood, rotting and splintered. The bat in its hand wasn't fake. It was gnarled, heavy and stained with something dark. We froze. I tried to laugh. Okay, who's messing with us? But my voice cracked. Buddy stepped forward.
I'm checking this out.
He reached for the mask. The thing moved like lightning. Crack. The bat dropped onto his head. His skull collapsed like an eggshell. Blood sprayed across the table. Then came the screaming. We ran, split down different alleys, stumbling through tight corridors and flickering shadows. Behind me, tongue, a slow beat. Then ahead, tongue. It didn't run, it didn't need to. It knew the alleys better than us. It herded us. One by one, my team vanished. I heard Nia's voice, our assistant, crying, choking, then crack. I ducked into a mushola, a small neighborhood prayer room. Inside, an old man sat cross-legged, whispering prayers. He didn't look up.
You brought it here. You mocked the Sahur call. You summoned judgment.
I begged him for help.
You turned sacred rhythm into performance. And now you must face the consequences. You don't belong here.
He said coldly.
Run.
I found an empty house a few doors down. Dead plants, cracked windows, something ancient in the dust. I locked the door, shoved a chair under the knob, collapsed in the corner. But then, tongue. I jolted awake. Tongue. No, please. Not again. Tongue. The 3rd beat. Then the 4th. It stooped to pass through the doorway, impossibly tall, a towering silhouette that defied reason. Its mask was fractured, the broken pieces revealing dark, hollow voids beneath, pulsing hunger.
Wake up and eat.
I ran. It followed. Through the rotting house, smashing through walls like they were paper. I tripped, fell down a staircase, felt my shins snap. I crawled. It caught me. It didn't kill me. It broke me. One arm, then the other, legs next. It set me upright like a doll at the dinner table, the one we had prepared.
You will not waste Sahur.
It hissed. It shoved cold renda into my mouth. I gagged, vomited. It scooped it up, shoved it back in.
You prepared this meal.
It whispered.
You will finish it.
I don't know how long it went on. I chewed through the tears, through pain, through blood and bile. Because if I didn't, it beat me harder. Until the plate was clean, until the table was empty. And when it was satisfied, it stood, looked down on me, silent, then turned and vanished into the dark. I collapsed to the floor. Everything in me screamed. My stomach twisted, my limbs hung uselessly. But worse than the pain was what settled in my chest. Regret. Not for chasing the views, not for flying halfway around the world for a video, but for the blasphemy, for making a meme out of something sacred, for mocking what others revere, for turning ritual into spectacle, faith into content. This is the third suicide in just 2 weeks. The whole town feels really heavy and scared right now. I'm Thomas, the psychologist sent to assist with the investigation. Please accept my sincere condolences.
My son was fine, I swear it. That stupid game is to blame.
Thomas, the victim was playing Shin Sonic right before they died. No drugs were discovered at the scene.
I want to sue the game company.
Please try to calm down, ma'am. We will definitely investigate thoroughly and give you and the families of the other victims a satisfactory answer.
None of the victims had a history of depression, and they weren't connected in any way. The only thing they had in common was this Sonic game.
I don't believe in stuff like curses. I've done some preliminary research on this game, and look at this. The purple and yellow color palette keeps players feeling trapped, and the sound effects that go above 85 Hz increase feelings of anxiety and fear. This game is using imagery and sound that's way too intense for a horror game.
Yeah, especially that VHS tape. The scream is so real, it's creepy. Can you help me put together a more detailed report?
Sure, I'll download the game and give it a try. I went home and started downloading the game. Creating an account was easy. I started playing at 10 p.m. I tried to finish the game as fast as possible. I was determined to uncover the mystery behind it. But things weren't as simple as I thought. Once I started playing, the game kept pushing me to complete tasks at all hours of the day. I haven't been able to sleep properly for 2 days, and tonight was no exception. It's 3:02 a.m. and because I was 2 minutes late for a task, the game gave me a jump scare as punishment. That creepy VHS clip woke me right up. It's a way to manipulate players into always being ready for the next task. The third night, I was so stressed and tired that I couldn't sleep. My subconscious was constantly reminding me of the game tasks. I knew it was a bad sign. And then, the game task appeared. As I waited for it to load, I quickly noted the time. The timing of these tasks is so weird. There's no pattern. It's like the game's sole purpose is to keep players awake and punish them for not following the rules. Suddenly, Sonic's terrifying scream came from my neighbor's house, followed by a weak cry for help. I ran over there right away. I burst into my neighbor's house, and the sight in front of me was horrifying. My neighbor, usually a healthy guy, looked like he was having a heart attack, and next to him was his phone, playing Sonic's scream. I rushed over, laid him down, and turned off the sound. The room was quiet, and I could feel my heart rate and my neighbors slowing down. I called an ambulance. While I was waiting, a thought hit me. My neighbor's cry and Sonic's scream kept echoing in my head, and they sounded strangely similar. Could Sonic's scream be a death sound, or was it a cry for help? A cry for help from Ethan. Just then, the paramedics arrived and took my neighbor away. I wasn't needed there anymore. Willis, I've found a crucial clue. Can you check if there's anyone named Ethan at Company X? Sure enough, my guess was right. After getting Ethan's file, Willis and I went straight to Company X.
Ethan lives alone in this town. He's a game programmer and lives at Company X. No one has seen him leave the company for 6 months.
Or maybe he couldn't leave. We finally arrived at Company X. Hopefully, we won't leave empty-handed.
I wonder what brings you here so suddenly, officer.
Nothing much. Just a report of a missing employee named Ethan. I thought I'd check it out.
The moment he heard the name Ethan, I saw a look of panic on the CEO's face. Suddenly, Willis's dog started barking loudly. It was barking at a life-sized animatronic. The barking was unusual. I had a feeling he'd found something.
I'm sorry, officer, but we don't allow pets inside.
Sorry, I'll take him outside. You don't seem surprised to find a body in that robot, Mr. CEO.
I don't know anything about it.
Mr. X, you're a suspect in Ethan's death. Come with us to the station.
At 8 a.m. this morning, the CEO of the famous game company known for the Shin Sonic game was arrested on charges of manslaughter and concealing a body. Ethan, an employee who was the main developer of the Sonic character, was forced to work 16 hours a day for 3 months straight. Eventually, he suffered a heart attack and collapsed at his desk. But the company's crimes don't end there. The company used Ethan's dying image and his desperate cries as the source material for the Sonic character to make the game more realistic. Ethan's body was hidden inside an animatronic displayed in the company's main lobby.
The toxic content, images, and sounds in the game are a major factor contributing to the psychological decline of players and have been linked to recent mysterious suicides. I urge viewers to avoid watching, storing, or sharing these harmful videos in any form.
Just leave it at the door. I want to sanitize this entire house. Hurry up.
This mattress still looks brand new. I really hit the jackpot today. Tonight, I'll finally sleep on a warm, comfy bed. This is my home. It's everything I have. As someone uneducated with no place to rely on, I've struggled to survive alone in this suffocating city. I had to learn to save as much as possible, just to build up a little bit of capital so I wouldn't end up wandering the streets. After a long, exhausting day of work, I quickly finished my simple dinner and happily fell asleep on my new mattress. That night, I heard a rustling sound beneath the mattress, but thought it was just the fabric rubbing together. I felt like something was crawling on me, but I convinced myself it was just because I wasn't used to the bed yet. The next morning, I woke up with my body covered in red welts, itching so badly it drove me crazy. That's when I realized there might really be something wrong with the mattress I brought home. I quickly flipped it over. What I saw made my skin crawl. Underneath the mattress were hundreds of bedbugs, wriggling and crawling all over. Terrified, I let go of the mattress immediately. I looked up the cost of bedbug treatments online, but the prices were outrageous. $900 for one cleaning session? Are you kidding me? That's half a month's salary for me. I searched online for ways to get rid of bedbugs. I decided to start with the cheapest method, using baking soda. After finishing, I went out to work, hoping that tonight I'd finally be able to sleep peacefully. That evening, I returned home with a vacuum cleaner I had borrowed from a co-worker. I used it to vacuum up the dead bedbugs and the baking soda from the mattress. After fiddling around for a while, I finally felt like I could get a good night's sleep, but the itching didn't stop. I could feel something biting me, sucking my blood. It was the bedbugs. They were far more stubborn than I had imagined. I grabbed an iron and started pressing the mattress back and forth. The bugs, with their blood-filled bellies, popped with a crisp, crackling sound under the searing heat. Once there wasn't a single bedbug left in sight, I felt reassured enough to go to sleep again. But my peaceful sleep continued to be disrupted. I heard a rustling sound coming from inside my ear. Annoyed, I reached in to clean it out, and I pulled out an entire family of bedbugs. This was beyond what I could tolerate. Terrified, I jumped out of bed, and what I saw froze me in place. There were bedbugs everywhere. On the bed, on the walls, on the sofa, in the kitchen. My home had been completely overrun by bedbugs. Panicked, I ran out of the house. The next morning, I bought a cheap bottle of insect spray. It wasn't specifically for bedbugs, but they're insects too, right? No. Judging by the state of my home, these bedbugs weren't ordinary anymore. They were a bloodthirsty swarm. Furious, I charged into battle against them, determined to reclaim my home. After being sprayed, the bugs seemed to go berserk and started attacking me. Panicking, I sprayed the insecticide on myself. The blisters on my hands flared up, red and painful, like needles piercing my skin. The bottle quickly ran out, but there were still far too many bugs. They climbed over the bodies of their fallen comrades, swarming toward me. A chill ran down my spine and goosebumps prickled my skin. Acting on instinct, I grabbed a lighter and waved it toward the swarm. The bugs, also reacting on instinct, scattered in fear of the fire. Triumphant, I thought to myself, if only I had known this earlier, I wouldn't have wasted money on insecticide. I could have just used fire to drive them out of my house. But my victory was short-lived. A horrible accident happened. The fire from the lighter accidentally caught the insect spray bottle. As I panicked, trying to put out the flames, a searing pain erupted from the blisters on my hands. Horrified, I looked down at my hands. From the blisters, bedbug larvae wriggled out, crawling all over my skin. Terrified, I tried to shake them off, forgetting I was holding the lighter. The fire caught on my clothes and the insecticide I had sprayed on myself, turning me into a living torch.
Recently, a rare fire incident caused by using fire to exterminate bedbugs occurred in a small alley on Triple X Street. The fire left the homeowner severely injured and completely destroyed the house. Even more concerning is that a massive population of bedbugs from the house has dispersed throughout the alley and appears to be increasing rapidly.
Like every other day, I sat at my familiar wooden table beneath the ancient oak tree. My deck of tarot cards lay before me, waiting for the next seeker of fate. People came and went, some hopeful, others desperate. They asked about love, wealth, or guidance. And I, Bianca, the village's most trusted fortune teller, gave them glimpses of the future. My accurate prophecies had earned me fame, but that meant little to me. What truly brought me happiness was my quiet life with my husband. Suddenly, an old woman in a black cloak appeared. I waited for her to ask for a reading, but she remained silent. Instead, she drew the death card and placed it on the table. I had seen it many times before. It could mean change, endings, or even rebirth, but this time, it meant only one thing: death. I looked up, but she was gone. Only the card remained. A chill crept through me. I grabbed my things and left. When I finally reached home, I shuffled my deck with trembling hands and drew 3 cards. The Empress, the Hanged Man, Death. I stared at them, cold fear settling into my bones. The wheel of fate had already begun to turn. The next day, a royal messenger knocked on my door.
The Duchess has summoned you!
My hands tightened around the parchment. I had already seen this moment unfold in my reading, but I had no choice. The Duchess sat before me, her hands clasped tightly as she fought to maintain her composure. She gripped my hands.
My husband vanished during a hunt days ago. Tell me where he is.
I calmed the Duchess, then focused on shuffling the cards. The cards never lie. I drew a card, the Devil. A suffocating silence filled the room. I see darkness, fangs, blood. He may have met a terrible end. The Duchess's expression twisted with fury.
You dare say my husband is dead? Are you cursing him with your filthy magic?
No, my lady. The cards only speak the truth.
Get out!
I lowered my head and left without another word. Hours later, news reached the castle. The Duke had been found, his body torn apart, mauled beyond recognition by a bear. The Duchess screamed, and then she sent her soldiers for me. My husband and I fled into the night. Shadows twisted around the trees, the branches clawing at me like skeletal fingers. The pounding of hooves and the glint of torches chased us into the forest. We can't outrun them, I gasped, clutching my husband's arm. He turned to me, his eyes shadowed with quiet determination.
You need to run, Bianca. I'll distract the soldiers.
When his warm hand touched my face, it jolted me awake. I cried, shaking violently. No, I'm not leaving without you. The soldiers were nearly upon us. With one last smile, he shoved me ahead, drew his dagger and lunged toward them. I fled in panic, my heart pounding wildly. Behind me, the sounds of clashing steel and desperate screams echoed through the air. When silence finally fell, I turned back, clinging to the frail hope that my husband still lived. But what I saw froze me in place. His corpse swayed gently from a tree branch carried by the wind. A choked sob escaped my throat. The hanged man. Everything was unfolding exactly as the cards had foretold. Fate was drawing near to the death card. I couldn't cry. Tears wouldn't change destiny. But I would have my revenge. The Duchess would pay with her life. I was ready to pay any price, even death. I began the ritual and gave myself to the darkness because pain had taken everything from me. The symbols I once feared were now etched into my mind, and I was ready to offer my soul to make their power mine. The cards appeared before me one last time. Ace of Cups, Three of Swords, the Star. That night, in her grand dining hall, the Duchess raised a glass of wine to her lips. Ace of Cups. The poison worked swiftly, burning through her veins. She choked, gasping for air as her body shook uncontrollably. In her panic, she grabbed the tablecloth and dragged the whole table down with her. As she fell, 3 knives from the table stabbed deep into her back, just like the Three of Swords predicted. Her breath came in shallow, painful gasps. Then a candle fell from its holder corresponding to the Star card. The fire raged fiercely, consuming everything in its path. Her screams were lost in the inferno. I fell to my knees as dark smoke wrapped around me. It sank deep into my body, tying me to something beyond this world. When I opened my eyes, I saw someone's hand reaching out to me. The tarot cards were placed beside me. It turned out my soul was trapped within the card. Death. The wheel of fate has stopped. No one can escape their own destiny.
This is a slander!
I am Zarn, a drone among the hive, a servant to the queen and protector of our cycle. Yet today, I question everything I have ever known. It began with a film, a human artifact, an insidious weapon disguised as storytelling. The humans called it alien. They had captured footage of us, our forms, our methods, and our survival.
See what they think of us. Learn their deceit.
The screen glowed. Scenes of violence unfolded, our kind bursting forth from their frail chests, their screams reverberating through the chambers. They called us monsters, parasites, invaders. The narrative was clear. They feared us, loathed us, and most chillingly, were preparing to eradicate us.
They plan to weaponize against us, to turn our own biology against us.
The thought sent a chill down my exoskeleton. Humans had conceived a grotesque revenge, using our bodies as hosts for their own infestation. A horrifying reversal of our sacred cycle. The Queen declared war. She would not allow our perfection to be tarnished, our legacy trampled by such fragile, chaotic beings. Yet as the hive roared in agreement, I remained silent. Later, in the solitude of my alcove, I replayed the film's imagery. The agony of the xenomorph on the screen, the human writhing its way out. It haunted me. I could almost feel the searing pain, the unnatural violation of the cycle. Why did the humans hate us so? Were they so blind to their own violence that they couldn't see their actions mirrored in ours? For the first time, I felt something foreign. Empathy, the pain, the violation. Was this how the humans felt as we seeded them? Their fear, their screams. It was not so different from what I imagined in that moment. When I approached the Queen, my claws trembled with trepidation. "We should negotiate," I said, my voice low. "Their fear drives them. Perhaps we can stop this before more blood is shed." Her massive form turned toward me, her glistening skull tilting in a silent challenge. The hive murmured in disbelief.
Negotiate? With prey?
Her voice was a venomous hiss. "With equals," I dared to reply. The silence that followed was suffocating. Yet after a long moment, she relented.
Very well, Zarn. You will go as our emissary. But make no mistake, if you fail, war will follow.
I was to lead a small group to the human world, to negotiate where no other drone had dared. My chest swelled with determination. I would bridge the divide between our species. We arrived on the human world under a veil of caution, my team moving silently through their metal constructs. The humans were fragile, soft, yet clever. Their fear was palpable, and I could feel their weapons trained on us even if they remained unseen. I began the negotiation, my words clicking and hissing through the translation device we had scavenged. The humans listened, their expressions inscrutable. But they treated us well, gave us private rooms to rest and eat. For a brief moment, I thought peace might be possible. Then the attack came. A sharp sting pierced the base of my spine. My limbs grew heavy, my vision blurred, and darkness consumed me. The last thing I saw was a human holding a needle-like device, its tip gleaming with ichor. I woke with a start, the memory of the ambush lingering like a bitter taste. My body felt strange but intact. Had it been a dream? A fabrication of my overworked mind? My team gathered around me, their concern evident. To reassure them, and myself, I joined them for nourishment. The food was bitter, but it steadied me. For a moment, I almost believed everything was normal. Then it began. A cough racked my body, sharp and violent. My claws scraped at the table as I doubled over. My team surrounded me, their clicks urgent with alarm.
Sarn, what is wrong?
I couldn't answer. Pain lanced through my abdomen, a searing, unnatural agony. Something was moving inside me. They laid me on a table, their clicks frantic with concern. My limbs thrashed as the thing inside me shifted, writhing with unnatural intent. I clawed at my own chest, desperate to stop the growing pressure. It surged upward, twisting, tearing. Then, with a sickening crack, my chest exploded. I let out a guttural scream as a human, pale, pink and glistening, erupted from my chest, drenched in my ichor. The room fell silent. Then chaos erupted. The hive recoiled in horror.
It's inside him!
One of them hissed. The human let out a guttural cry, its fragile limbs trembling as it stood. My vision blurred, the pain overwhelming. My body felt hollow, violated. And still I watched. The hive erupted into chaos. My team grabbed their weapons, their rage a tangible force. The human, impossibly small yet unyielding, dodged their strikes, darting through the shadows like a spectre. I lay on the table, my strength fading, my ichor pooling beneath me. Yet my mind was alight with realization. This was their plan all along. Not just to kill us, but to become us, to corrupt the cycle itself. I struggled to rise, my claws trembling as I grabbed a communicator. "Report. To the Queen," I rasped, my voice a fractured whisper. "Prepare the hive. For war." Through the haze of pain, I watched as my team clashed with the human. Their movements were mirror images, their violence indistinguishable. It was then I understood the terrible truth. We and the humans were not so different, both bound by instinct, both trapped in cycles of destruction. This was no longer about survival, it was about annihilation. The war would come, and it would consume us all, and in the end, neither species would win, only violence would remain, echoing through the stars.
I pushed the glass door open, greeted by the faint smell of acetone and cheap air freshener. The nail salon was cramped, with walls adorned by faded posters of hands flaunting impeccable nails. The flickering fluorescent light above made the already dim space feel even more unsettling. But I didn't care about ambience. I just needed to distract myself, to feel like I was taking care of myself for once after weeks of spiraling since losing my job. The woman who greeted me had a weary smile. Her hands, however, stole my attention. Covered in warts and blemishes, they were grotesque. My stomach turned, but I told myself to stay calm. "Don't judge her," I muttered under my breath. "She's probably had a tough life, just like you." I sat in the cracked leather chair and placed my hands on the counter. She began filing my nails with clinical precision, her touch robotic. I avoided staring at her hands too long, keeping my gaze fixed on the grimy counter instead. After finishing my nails, she looked at my feet.
Your toenails are too long,
she said, her voice monotone but firm.
We need to trim them.
I hesitated. My hands were one thing, but my feet? I wasn't sure if I trusted her enough for that. But before I could say no, she was already adjusting the chair and motioning for me to lift my leg. The first few trims were fine, but when she reached the corner of my big toe, pain shot through my foot like lightning. I yelped, jerking my leg back. She didn't flinch.
Hold still,
she said, grabbing a small bottle of disinfectant. She dabbed it onto the wound, and I winced as it stung.
It's just a small cut, nothing serious,
she reassured me, though her face betrayed no real concern. I glanced down at my toe. There was a tiny hollow at the edge of my nail, as if the clipper had gouged too deep. Are you sure this is okay? I asked nervously. Without answering, she reached into her drawer and pulled out a syringe.
This will help with the pain,
she said. I froze. A shot? Is that really necessary? She nodded curtly.
Only a local anaesthetic. You won't feel anything after this.
Before I could argue, the needle was in. The relief was immediate. The sharp throbbing in my toe dulled to nothingness. And for a moment, I relaxed. That night, the itch began. It was subtle at first, just a faint tickle at the edge of my big toe. I dismissed it as part of the healing process. But as the hours dragged on, the itch deepened. I scratched absent-mindedly until my skin felt raw, but the itch wouldn't stop. The next morning, I woke to find my foot swollen, the skin around the cut reddish and tight. The itching had spread, crawling up my foot like an invisible infestation. Panicking, I returned to the salon. The woman wasn't there.
She's sick,
another worker explained.
She won't be back for a while.
I felt a pang of unease but said nothing. That night, the itch turned into something worse. My foot began to ache, the skin growing hot and lumpy. Small, pale patches appeared around the wound, like moss clinging to a tree. I couldn't take it anymore. My foot was unrecognizable, bloated, discolored, and covered in strange fungal growths. Desperation drove me back to the salon. This time, another nail technician attended to me, her face a mask of indifference. She examined my foot and immediately retrieved a needle.
This will drain it,
she said flatly. I watched in horror as she pierced the swollen patches. Thick, yellowish fluid oozed out, carrying with it fragments of the fungal growth. But instead of relief, the fungus seemed to react violently. It spread faster, the pale patches climbing up my leg, merging into grotesque clusters. The sensation was unbearable. My skin burned and tightened as if something alive was writhing beneath it. I clutched the sides of the chair, tears streaming down my face. What's happening to me? I screamed. She didn't answer. Her expression remained blank as she worked, stabbing at the growths with mechanical precision. I didn't know if she noticed that the infection had reached my hands. The skin on my arms bubbled and cracked, the fungus spreading in relentless waves. My vision blurred, my head spinning from the pain. The last thing I heard was a voice, not from inside my head, but distant and cold.
Don't let this get out, or we won't be able to do business anymore.
Even though I've tried many kinds of raw meat, I have to admit this chef's skills match my taste perfectly. The fish melts in my mouth with a sweet flavor and a faint hint of blood.
Mr. Davis, you're quite the gourmet. Very few people can handle raw puffer fish without any preparation like you do.
You could say I'm addicted to eating raw meat. I enjoy the fresh taste and the natural flavor of it. Eating raw meat makes me feel excited, like a predator. My mother is the one who trained me to eat raw food. Isn't that right, Mum?
Don't joke around like that in front of adults, dear.
When I was 7, my father passed away suddenly, which sent my mother into a crisis. She blamed me for everything, her pain, her misfortune. Even now, as an adult capable of supporting the whole family, the distance between my mother and me remains unbridgeable.
You don't look too well. Your digestive system probably hasn't adjusted yet. A glass of wine will help you feel better.
This is Charles. the private chef I recently hired. His cooking skills are flawless, and he's also very observant. Truthfully, I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable, but the sweet aroma of the wine makes me feel relaxed. I suddenly want to share my thoughts and be heard. If you were locked under the stairs for 7 days, starved to the point of eating live rats, you wouldn't feel any sympathy for her either.
I'm really sorry. It sounds like you didn't have an easy childhood.
It's fine. I've already figured out a way to make her suffer.
By eating raw meat in front of her? You're quite fascinating.
After that night, Charles and I became even closer. Charles quickly understood my health condition and knew my desire to replace my daily meals entirely with raw meat. So he prepared a suitable menu to help my body gradually adapt to this new diet. The first dish was blue rare beefsteak. Both sides of the meat were seared just enough, served with butter sauce and a sprinkle of pepper. The meat remained fresh and tender without having an overpowering metallic taste. Watching the look of discomfort on Carolyn's face made the piece of meat in my mouth taste even more delicious. After my body had adjusted to digesting blue rare beefsteak, Charles started preparing dishes that were progressively rawer over the next few days. First, he served steak tartare, completely raw minced beef. Then came basashi, a Japanese dish made of raw horse meat. And the final dish, the graduation meal from my raw meat training, was shiru, a dish of live fish. Watching the little fish squirm on the soup spoon, I suppressed the guilt and a flicker of fear before eating them.
Davis, you've lost your mind. This is not something a human being should be eating.
Why not? Charles's skills are impeccable. This tastes 1,000 times better than the live rat I once ate.
Charles, this is all your fault. You're corrupting my son. What kind of monster are you trying to turn him into? Pumpkin, gouge his eyes out for me.
She's always been like this, resolving everything with violence and blaming others for her misery. But this time, I won't just quietly endure.
Davis, your hand.
It's just a small cut.
Davis, did you really hit your brother because of a servant? He's nothing but a bloodthirsty monster. You should stay far away from him.
I couldn't take it anymore. What absurd delusion was she having this time? Forcing me to see a hairy ape as my brother and demanding I abandon the only person I could confide in. What a joke. I returned to my room and quickly treated my wound. Looking at myself in the mirror, I finally realized something. Ever since switching to a raw meat diet, I feel stronger. My complexion looks healthier and my teeth seem sharper, like a true predator.
Pumpkin! Pumpkin, where are you?
What is she and that crazy monkey up to now? Has the monkey gone missing? Huh, that's fine. I should thank whoever got rid of my little brother.
Davis, it's me.
I opened the door for Charles. The metallic scent of blood mixed with herbs wafting from the tray in his hands piqued my curiosity.
You didn't eat much at lunch, so I prepared an afternoon snack for you. This is herb-steamed brain. It's very nutritious and it won't taste too bloody when eaten fresh.
If this were before, the sight of that red brain would have disgusted me for the entire day. But ever since I started eating Charles's raw meat dishes, these faintly bloody meals have become irresistibly appealing to me.
You're really enjoying it, aren't you? I might consider letting you try more organ-based dishes.
Charles, you devil! Get out here and pay for what you've done to my son. Davis, do you even know what you just ate? That's your brother's brain.
I looked at Charles in shock. I never liked that crazy monkey. But what possible reason would Charles have to do something so cruel?
Kill him for me!
Everything happened too fast. Before I could think, the servants stormed in and attacked Charles. Had everyone lost their minds? Who's the real master of this house? I shouted. Stop this at once! The last word caught in my throat as a cold, piercing sensation spread through my chest. I'd been shot? How was that possible?
You ate your brother's brain and defended the devil who killed him. You don't deserve to be my son.
That crazy woman.
Thanks for saying it for me, Charles. It seems he's stronger than I thought. My body felt weak and drained as darkness slowly enveloped me. I thought I was dead, but a sharp pain in my fingertips jolted me awake. I was still alive.
You're alive. Don't be surprised. It's something an ordinary human couldn't survive, but for a vampire like me, it's child's play.
Looks like my blood suits your taste, huh? I bet you had quite the feast.
Aren't you scared?
I was calmer than I expected. There had been so many strange signs, and now that Charles's true nature was revealed, everything started to make sense.
Here's the next dish in your blood replenishing menu. The liver of the one who shot a hole in your chest.
Even though I knew where that liver came from, I didn't feel disgusted. On the contrary, it made me even hungrier. Perhaps I had already become a bloodthirsty monster like Charles. Charles looked at me with satisfaction, his eyes glowing a fiery red.
Your blood, the blood of someone who only eats raw meat, is the finest I've ever tasted.